Ms. Crockett from Texas is recognized for UC.
Thank you so much. Donald Trump's approval rating implodes on his strongest issue. This is from Newsweek today. It says 40% of people approve of Trump's handling of immigration and border security, while 60% disapprove.
Without objection,
that is a
admitted.
net drop.
Now I recognize the gentleman
20.
from California, Mr. Lieu.
Thank you, Attorney General Bondi, for being here today. I'm going to show you two photos.
Thank you.
I'm going to show you two photos of former Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. Under the law Congress passed, you were allowed to redact photos to protect the victims of Epstein's sex trafficking operation. You redacted the photos of this victim's face because you were following the congressional law. Is that correct?
I'm sorry that we redacted the victim's
Because you were
face?
following the congressional law, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have now established that please put the photos back up, that we are looking at a sex trafficking victim. Under the Federal Victims Trafficking Protection Act, not only is Jeffrey Epstein guilty, but anyone who patronizes Epstein's sex operation is also guilty of a crime. That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties." These two photos, please put the photos back up. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew. So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Okay, folks, so, this congressman right here is about to make some pretty good points, but I've got to stop him right here because, folks, that might sound reasonable to anybody out there. That might sound quite reasonable. You look at that photo, you know what went on, right? You already know what went on. We already know this afternoon it came down the pipeline. Prince Andrew has been arrested, so he's going to prison for a very long time. Probably, right? We haven't been through trial yet, but probably. But let me put it to you like this. Let's say you guys have a friend out there, right? Say you growing up together in your formative years, if you will, right? You go to this guy's house and you hang out all the time, right? Maybe you go watch the game. Maybe you go shoot some pool or something like that, right? Play some video games, whatever, right? Whatever it may be, right? And then come to find out, I don't know, couple of years after all of this is going on, you can come to find out this man was arrested for trafficking drugs out of his house by a lot, folks. And he wasn't like a lower scale street dude, right? He wasn't even a middleman. He was like the top dude, right? Come to find out, and he had a bunch of drugs at his house where you had been. And then let's say, I don't know, a couple of hours after seeing this news report, the feds show up to your house and arrest you because you've been there before. You've never touched a drug in your life. Would that be a fair application of jurisprudence? Do you think that would be fair to you? You're getting arrested because you were guilty by association, folks. That's basically what he said. He basically just said that everybody that went to Jeffrey Epstein's island is guilty of sex trafficking. Like, are you kidding me with that? Right? Let's take that photo right there. This is insane, folks. A lot of people are losing their freaking minds over this. Take that photo right there. All right, okay, now I know it's hard to just drop what we already know, but drop what you already know. Let's look at that photo. I'll didn't even throw it up on the screen, screw it. What does that photo speak to you? What does that say? Oh, well, once again, you already know what went on, so you're disgusted by that, right? Rightly so. I get it. But like I said, drop what you know. What does that photo speak right there? It doesn't say a damn thing. That is not an incriminating photo, folks. Absolutely isn't an incriminating photo. He could be giving her CPR. Maybe they both fell to the ground and he is getting up. Maybe she passed out and he's checking on her. Hey, what's wrong here? You just don't know the context to a photo like this. Folks, I understand, we know that a lot of untoward activity went on at Jeffrey Epstein's island, right? But once again, folks, this is why the DOJ hasn't gone after a lot of these people. Because if we don't have hard evidence, like video evidence or email evidence of them actually admitting to breaking the law, we can't really go after a lot of these people just for being associated with Jeffrey Epstein. But it doesn't matter. Some people are like, no, they're guilty. Like, this man seriously wants us to go after Donald Trump because Donald Trump was associated with Jeffrey Epstein. That's what a lot of people out there, they want us to go after Donald Trump. And it's not because Donald Trump was associated with Epstein. I can say that. Even if you might be a liberal listening to this right now and you're thinking, well, that's exactly why. No, that's not why. That's because you don't like Donald Trump and you want to take any bit of evidence right here and connect it to Donald Trump. Right? There is some very, look, I'll say it like this, right? There are some very, very serious allegations against Donald Trump right now. Very serious, folks. And I think these need to be investigated, right? Some have been investigated. Some are not very credible at all. But I think they need to go through all this, right? Regardless of partisan politics, I think all this needs to go through. Oh, wait. They've already done that. So, look, folks. The fact is, the bottom line is, no matter how badly you want to go after and get Donald Trump, he's already been exonerated. Just straight up, pretty much, right? I mean, unless they find some new evidence somewhere, nothing's going to happen from this as far as Donald Trump is concerned, right? Once again, folks, if they had any incriminating evidence on Donald Trump, they would have destroyed it a long time ago. That's all I'm saying. You're not going to find this evidence. So there's never going to be evidence to convict Donald Trump, whether he did or didn't. So I don't understand these people. This is insane, y'all. It really is. The Democrats are truly insane on this issue. Because once again, like I said, Prince Andrew was arrested for this very thing. But that photo right there is not incriminating. It's insane, y'all. These people are nuts. Absolutely. Y'all smash the like button and all that. Sorry for the long-winded intro. Let's get to the rest of this.
I don't believe you asked Merrick Garland these questions when he was Attorney General and set before.
I agree with you.
You twice.
I'm reclaiming my time. I agree with you. I agree with you. During the Biden administration, I called for people looking at Epstein files. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did Attorney General Bill Barr, as did Alex Acosta, a whole string of failures. But you are in charge. You have the power to change things, to hold these men accountable, and you're doing the opposite. You're protecting them. So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to move on to another question.
Can I answer your question about protecting?
You answered the question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is...
That is why Pam Bondi is bad at her job right there. He just destroyed Pam Bondi with that. Yes, as a matter of fact, Pam Bondi, you're right. Merrick Garland dropped the ball, as did the other attorney generals who presided over the Epstein files, for crying out loud. They all dropped the ball. Or did they drop the ball? Once again, folks, like, you can blame them and look back and say, well, but he just lied, though. He just outright lied. That photo is not incriminating evidence. Unless you know exactly what that photo leads to, that is nothing. You ask any investigator, they'll say, yeah, that's creepy as hell, disgusting if you ask me, and yeah, warrants an investigation, but it is not incriminating. There is nothing incriminating about that whatsoever. Once again, a bit creepy, but outside of that, like, what what goes on? What is this man right here seeing? Like, what are these liberals seeing in that photo and in other photos like this that we are not seeing? For crying out loud, I have no ties to Prince Andrew. I could care less if he goes down, if he doesn't go down. Well, like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't care about the United Kingdom or their monarchy or anything. Well, he's not a part of that anymore, obviously, but I could care less about this man. Like, if he goes down, that's fine. If he was guilty, fine. But if he's not guilty, that's not fine if he goes down for something that he did not do. Now, at this point, all the evidence appears to point in that direction, but once again, that photo right there is not incriminating. What are they seeing? I would love to know this. Like, somebody please inform me as to what they see in that, because from what I can see, like I said, it's creepy, very, very creepy. Disgusting, whatever you want to, however you want to label that. But incriminating would not be a label unless you know what that leads to, like that is a still frame from a video. Unless you've watched that video and know that it leads to some impropriety or something untoward. I just don't get these people, man. And he looks pissed. Let's keep going.
It's all over the Epstein files. Like former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I'm going to claim my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
I'd like
stop
to
the clock.
reclaim my time.
Stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
Time.
I'd like to reclaim my time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay. I'm going to put up another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of a crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop a limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and the officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question, Ms.
He
Head.
doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his state.
She can't just
Madam Attorney
ad-lib
General.
stuff. I did not ask a question.
Meeting will be in order. The gentleman has yielded back his time. I think our next witness will be more than happy to let the Attorney General.
Madam
respond.
Attorney General, would you like to?
Gentleman from Alabama is recognized for 5 minutes.
You have a few minutes to respond.
Thank
What I'm curious about is if he overheard this conversation and wanted to punch him in the face, why didn't he do it? Why didn't he do it? Why didn't they interview him about this? And why did he just call the FBI hotline? And that's it. So we don't have any more evidence that he went to an FBI field office. We don't have any evidence that he went to the state patrol, like the state police or whatever. We don't have any evidence that he went to the local sheriff, whatever it may be. All right, if this is so bad, why would you just call the FBI hotline, the tip line, and that's it? If you're so concerned about this. Once again, folks, they don't always track down all these, because sometimes people call in and they sound like crazy lunatics. I'm just saying. I think an allegation like that they should track that guy down and figure out if he's a crazy lunatic or not. Because if that's a credible allegation, then Donald Trump has some questions to answer, as a matter of fact, right? I think we can all agree to that. But what I want to know is, once again, folks, if this man was so sure of what he overheard, why did he not go any further than to call the tip line? I'm just curious. I'm just saying. Like, once again, folks, people that have an allegation like this, he's not a victim. Once he said he saw a victim get her head blown off or something like that, or got her head blown off, and the cop said that there's no way that the person done it themselves. Okay, so what does that mean? That doesn't speak to anything, right? That doesn't, unless you're making an allegation that Donald Trump did it, and then there you go. That's another tick on the box of why that person would look crazy, because they would have absolutely no evidence. But you could say, hey, look, this might be a coincidence, but it might not be. Maybe you guys should investigate this. And if you just call the tip line, look, I'm sorry. If I see something of that nature, I call the tip line and never hear anything back. I'm going to the state police. I'm going to my local sheriff. I'm going to my local police department. I'm calling up the Associated Press, the Washington Post, the New York Times, Town Hall, Just the News. I'm calling up left-wing, right-wing, centrist, all of the above. I'm calling everybody to give them my story. It's not going to just stop with a simple call to the tip line, the FBI tip line. Once again, these people are insane, y'all. They really are going insane with this whole Epstein thing. I just find it nuts. Maybe you guys believe that Donald Trump is guilty. Well, let's see some evidence. Because I've delved into the little bit of the Epstein files. I randomly searched for some emails and looked up. I didn't see anything incriminating on anybody, but I wasn't there very long because, I'm just one person, and there's a lot of people just combing over every single hyphen, every single period, every single letter, every single everything of all of that. And still, we've got allegations, and that's it, that the FBI has already looked into. Once again, Biden's DOJ sat on all of this. They had to make up charges to go after Donald Trump instead of going after all of this. Like, once again, let's not forget that Biden's FBI sat on all this evidence. They sat on all of these allegations. If they were looking to get Donald Trump for anything, that would be the ticket, don't you think? Because they would not only have the evidence to throw him in jail for a very long time, but they would absolutely obliterate his reputation. And they tried. Tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. And nothing, folks. You didn't hear Democrats raising the roof about this. He says, he brought it up to Merrick Garland. Maybe he did. But he would be the only one. I never heard any. And I watch these hearings like a hawk, folks. Like a hawk. Just saying. That's it. Y'all try to have a good day. I'm sorry. Smash the like button for me. Subscribe if you're new around here. Share this video anywhere and everywhere you can. Click the join button, sign up, and become a member. That's the best way to help this channel expand and grow, folks. And listen. We cannot be lazy with our faith, folks. I know a lot of times procrastination kicks in. And the Catholics, they have this mortal sin, if you will. One of the mortal sins is sloth. And you might picture a sloth climbing really slow through a tree or whatever, just moving very, very, and think that's what sloth means. That's not necessarily what sloth is, folks. Right? Because if you are living your life for Jesus, if you are trying to move in that direction, to constantly build upon your relationship with God, and you are delving into sin or not focusing on what you are supposed to be doing in that relationship, that could be considered sloth, because that anything you do that is not advantageous toward that, right, is moving away, right? Because once again, folks, God is not the only entity, right, that opens doors for us. The devil also opens doors, and the devil will open many more doors, because the devil wants you. He wants you on his side. He wants you to destroy that relationship with God, because he wants to kill, steal, and destroy. That's all he wants. And he's doing a very good job in this nation right now. Very good job, folks. But just keep that in mind, you guys. God bless everybody out there. You guys, y'all pray for this nation. Please, please pray for the country. Y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.